shit, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing out there? This is Intergalactic Interviews, and this is episode 146. How are you, folks? How you doing? Are you having a great week? We're having a tremendous week. We are putting in a lot of work here at the podcast. Within 48 hours, it's been pretty hectic. That being said, today's guest is returning to the show. He's graciously made time for us, as he always seems to do. I don't know how he finds time
or
to
why.
do so, or why. But he's come here again, and we appreciate his time here. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Sean Ramjagsingh. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me, as always. This is, what, the third or fourth time?
You've been on the show many times.
Twice here, and then...
it's got to be tied for...
four?
You're almost into Kwesi Thomas, Alex Sparling tier.
I know.
Yeah.
These
you
guys
just get those fools anytime.
Multi appearances.
I was hoping to be your guest for 150, but I guess I didn't make the cut.
Oh,
all right.
Oh, no.
We'll have to bring you
okay.
back. We'll bring you back. We'll talk about how this went. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, we were just talking off air about how we're going to try and do something special, but might be the Hail Mary of all time. Or in this case, the one-timer of all time. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be pandering all show. Here we go.
Are you not comfortable putting out there what we were talking about?
I feel like if I say it, then it'll be out there. And then people will be like, remember when he said he thought he could get this guy on the show?
We'll probably get someone like fucking Steve McGowan on here or something like that for 150. Just like whatever.
Great. Now I can't have him. And now it seems like I would just be pandering to C-Mart. There we go. Sir, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Things are good.
As I mentioned, you made time to come here. You were supposed to do Europe, like Scandinavia and all over the map.
It's August is that time of year for us, just going around doing lots of media tours. Typically, if we go to Gamescom or we don't go to Gamescom, we typically go right after Gamescom through the Nordics, through Sweden, through Finland, sometimes through Switzerland, Germany, depending on kind of what year it is. And then we usually head up to New York as well and do a big event in New York too. So just getting the word out there about the game and letting people get their hands on it.
We should say what we're talking about,
Oh, the game in question, which is available on Friday, September 15th in stores, but is actually available right now, early access, is NHL 18, ladies and gentlemen. Available on it's multi-console. How do you say this? What's the proper way to say it? What's the cool way to say it?
Xbox One and PS4. Multi-console, yeah.
Multi-platform.
Two SKUs.
Yeah, exactly.
Two SKUs, sure, two SKUs.
In Scandinavia, who is the most accommodating to you when you go? You've been going for many years.
Yeah, we get treated pretty well everywhere we go over there. So it's good reception. Great turnout too. I mean, literally we'll go to an event in Sweden and have anywhere from 30 to 50 members of media show up in Finland and Sweden. So it's great turnout.
Yeah. What a Swiss answer to answer so neutral.
Okay.
That was pretty good. No, I know how. That's how you maintain your accommodations at a premier level. Obviously, I can appreciate that.
We should say what his role is. For someone that maybe didn't listen to
what is your
last
exact defined role nowadays? Has it changed since I last talked to you?
I'm a producer on the NHL team, so heading up the development team out in Burnaby, where we make NHL 18
/ lightning rod apparently on social media. Every time I go on there, I was reading out your Twitter replies to my fiance last night.
Yeah.
And she was like, she's like, when was that from? I was like 10 minutes ago.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And she was like, what? I thought you were reading me like the last 6 months or something. And I was like, no, this was like the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, we got it going pretty good last night.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I saw you talking to some guy who's upset, who's clearly manipulating the game in a cheating fashion, and upset at the rule changes and doesn't know how to basically direct that energy. That's clearly what I was reading.
That's what you read, yeah.
Yeah, and you handled it so, like you're so calm and so polite.
It's that media training.
Yeah, you're just like, well, if I guess you have nothing to worry about to him.
Right, if you're not breaking the rules, you got nothing to worry about.
And he's like, yeah, well, this is a piece of shit. I'm just so upset at everyone. Right now. You're just like, okay, that seems like a rational response to...
I'm not sure I can help you with that.
Yeah. The mentality of the online community is sometimes so poisonous. I just
Toxic
have to,
is the term.
Yeah. We were talking was it last week or the crew episode? 2 weeks ago, it was just myself and C-Mart chatting about some stuff, and we were talking about online I getting sucked into reading this. You're reading it and you're like, I know this is terrible for me. I know it's not good to read this, and you're just reading it. But sometimes I get like a couple scrolls down into a timeline, and I'm like, what am I doing? And I back out.
But we also learned that MD is the guy that goes reply.
Yeah, and I'm like, listen,
which is mistake 1.
Yeah, yeah. If you knew how many times
scrolling down is mistake 1.
If you knew how many times I started typing something and then deleted it, though, you'd be impressed. You wouldn't be thinking, this guy always replies. I'd be like, well, I probably don't say more than I do say. Yeah, I think about it a lot. That guy last night, I wanted to be like, you non-contributing zero. You don't make games. You don't play professional hockey. You have no say. Like you're just enjoying the game, and that's your role. Enjoy it or don't enjoy it. But to go online and chase someone down personally is just the worst.
I think we talked about this last time, but you'd be surprised how many people that I actually respond to that people probably don't think I would respond to, just behind the scenes through DM and stuff like that, and carry on conversations for sometimes days and days and days.
Yeah, your engagement is great. I remember you telling me one time you said someone was really upset with like a menu option that was changed. Yeah. And you were like, well, hey, did you know that it was actually just moved to this sub-menu? And they're like, oh, their whole tone changes. Hey, thanks, Rammer. Thanks for giving me the time of day. And it's like, dude, approach everything in life like this. You would get so much farther. I don't know. Yeah. This is the first year that we've had you on the show that I didn't scrape Reddit for comments and questions. The reason being, some of the community there, I realize, is actually kind of just consistently negative regardless, because everything I've been reading about this year's game has been very positive. I've been seeing some incredible things, and still some of these people, a select very small minority, are just being negative regardless. So I felt that would kind of poison the questions, and I didn't really want to get into it then. But the community is great out there. There's really great members, and it's pretty incredible. And basically, I could sum it up right now real quick. Like, I didn't even have to look. I bet you I could do this. And if you're watching this right now, you're welcome. Okay, here we go. Why isn't NHL on PC this year?
That's good. Yeah.
That's always a question.
That's a question, yeah.
Yeah, and here's another one. Is there going to be GM connected this year?
That's another one.
That's always the other one. And let's see if I could just seriously just come up with the other one that always kind of.
That wasn't a confirmation. I don't think that was an acknowledgement.
No,
of the question.
He just acknowledged, by the way.
Yeah,
he wasn't asked. He wasn't confirming that. Yeah, and I think the third one probably be, can you trade? Can you request a trade and be a pro, or live the life, or as it was previously known? Which I think you can now, right?
You can do that in 18. Yes, you can.
Which is amazing. Which is really good. I found myself working really hard in a junior career.
Nice.
If I worked as hard in my junior simulated career as I did in my podcast, I think I'd do probably a lot better. But the ability to say not be drafted to a team I didn't want to go to or something like that, or at least put in some time, get to an RFA, possibly request a trade, get moved around. That's okay.
Get to your Habs.
Get to the Habs. Not a bad play, they said. By the way, how you like the trades they're making this year? You think better or worse?
Oh, better or worse?
Or about the same. I'll give you an out.
Yeah, I think, you know what? I told the line again, but I feel like they're going to be about, I don't know, it's tough to say. It's really tough to say. I mean,
I'm concerned as a fan.
Why?
I think I'm concerned because going into last year, I felt we were the strongest we've been since '93. Yeah, I thought there's no way we can have an unsuccessful year. We're at least going to Eastern Conference Finals, in my opinion. Then we ran into the brick wall that was the New York Rangers. They were just built to beat the Montreal Canadiens. Because if you look at the rest of the regular season, you're talking about a team that did not slip from the standings more than 24 hours in January, despite the fact they had probably the worst November and December. It was bad. It was really, really bad. And they still were on top of their division. So I think if you look at all that and then combine it with all the trades and moves that were made this summer, I don't know. It's hard to see how we advanced. Is Joe Morrow an upgrade from Nathan You know, like I don't know. That's
tough. I would say the question is, are they built for playoff hockey?
Great. What would you think the answer is to that question?
TBD. Tough to tell. I mean, the game.
Well, that's all the time we have tonight.
Yeah, I just think I think the style of hockey just changes so much. Like we saw last year, the play during the regular season and the play during the playoffs was night and day. It was two different styles of hockey, and you saw the teams that were built for playoff hockey and the teams that weren't built for playoff hockey.
I think it's so amazing to see how the league adapts year to year to the winning teams. If you look back, this might be a sore spot, but if you look back at Vancouver in 2011, you saw the Bruins essentially bullied their way to the cup. That and because on paper everyone was thinking Vancouver's going to walk through them.
That's right.
Even if you look, it was like they were up two games in the series, right? So to get bullied like that in the off season, all the teams were like, okay, now we're going to add size and all that. Right. Then you see LA win their first cup. Using very similar game plan to that. Then you see Chicago come in a shortened season in 2013, and they absolutely changed. They adjust their core from their 2008 and 2009 campaigns, and suddenly the whole speed is the essence starts creeping into this. Right. And then you see Boston struggles because they have too much, not enough speed and too much size, and then you see these. By the time we get to last year, that was the craziest anomaly I think I've ever seen in hockey. You see a team win the cup with 7th string defense. Like there was not a number 1 defenseman on that team. No. That is. Can you think of a year where that's even happened? Even close to that year?
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, you go back to the Dowdies and the Keiths and the Seabrooks. And
think about it. That's always been the core moving forward.
Chara going back.
You'd have to go back. Probably like almost pre-stats.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
and Letang was kind of that guy, but didn't play.
Of course, yeah. And Letang's a phenomenal player. So now you look at the team now, you're like, okay, look, they have all this playoff experience now. It's very amazing. They added Jared Tenorti, I noticed, who's a former Hab prospect.
Man, I still think he's gonna be a good pro.
Me too.
He's
that guy. Dallas the last 2 seasons,
Dallas?
I think.
He's a beast. Massive.
Thick, you're taller than him actually, but he's pretty close. I think he's like 6'9",
He's up there.
6'8", yeah.
Yeah, 6'8" or so. But he's thick, thick.
When Montreal drafted him, I thought this is our answer to Chara. We could finally advance.
Yeah.
And then, he just couldn't get by Michel Therrien.
Yeah, I met him at the NHLPA Rookie Showcase in Toronto his rookie year, and he was man amongst boys.
Right?
Unbelievable, yeah. Looked like he stepped in and played right away.
Yeah. Do you remember Malkin's junior, his last year in the World Juniors? Do you remember watching Malkin play?
Yeah.
That was like one of those definitive men amongst boys. Like he really looked like NHL ready. No, he seriously looked like a player actually.
Yeah, I mean, he had he was huge. His size and the skill, huge.
He's like 99 overall out there. Yeah, it was pretty. It's pretty. I don't think he won that year though. Canada prevailed.
They shut him down, didn't they?
I think there's that dejected photo of him.
That's right.
Against the boards. I think he went on to some other individual successes since then.
He's done all right since then.
I think he's doing okay. It's fine. This game this year, the inclusion of the defensive skill stick, is that what's the exact
defensive skill stick? You got it.
That's it, right?
That's it. Yeah.
The inclusion of that into the game is what a lot of hardcore players have been talking about for a long time.
Can you describe that?
Well, essentially, when the skill stick was brought into the game, I think 2007.
Yeah, so full skill stick being like full right stick control on offense, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. When that portion of the game was brought in, and that mode was brought into the game, as it was implemented into the controls in 2007, I remember that was such a pivotal moment in video game sports, because I had people that had never played NHL ever playing it at their house, and I'd come over and be like, what are you playing? They're like, NHL, have you tried it now? You can actually deke and all this stuff. And since then, there's been all these great modifications to the game, and just building upon, and just standing on the shoulders of giants, essentially. And by the time it gets to this year, so we're going to the 2018 version, I've been hearing for the last few years now, everyone's like, it'd be cool if we had this kind of control with the defensive stick, because then you can sweep. But I know you could always sweep, but the controls weren't maybe as intuitive as they are now.
That's
right.
right. Yeah.
What was the type of feedback you received that brought about this implementation?
Yeah,
of this control?
it's funny. So if you go, so NHL 09, so 7, 08 were sort of the introduction of the skill stick, like you mentioned, on offense. And so when I joined the team in 09 as gameplay producer, we knew we had to figure out something on defense to give better balance. The offense was just way too overpowered. The defense didn't have any tools aside from basically throwing a hit to stop you. So that's when we put in stick lifts and given the defense a little bit more a few more tools to just counter what we put in. And so this year, we were focusing so much on the offensive part of the game, capturing the speed and the skill of the players and the creativity and putting all the new deeks in. And so we had to make sure that we offset that or balance that by putting in something on defense as well, giving the defense more tools. Especially, one of the best modes in our game is when you're playing the online team player, EA Sports Hockey, where you're locked to a character. So if you're playing defense and you don't have the tools to play defense against guys who are doing between the legs deeks and stuff like that, you're going to feel like you don't want to play defense and the game's unbalanced and you're not set up to be competitive or to help your team win.
Rage quit.
And
ruin the experience for everyone.
So our core fans have been asking for a defensive skill stick, more control of the defensive skill stick. And so we felt it was the right year to do it, just to kind of offset what we're doing on offense with the flashier moves on offense. And we weren't sure, to be honest, we weren't sure how it was going to turn out, what the actual design was. We knew we wanted to give you sort of total control with the stick, but didn't know what that was actually going to be. And so it was a tough development process of just kind of getting it right. So we got it in there working very early, and it was awesome. We're like, hey, we see the potential of it. And then we have auto pivots and stuff like that. So now you got the stick held up to the right, and your guy auto pivots, and now the stick's behind him, and all these weird situations you have to figure out how to deal with. So the guys did an incredible job pulling it together for the final product and just kind of balancing everything and making sure everything looked good. When we first had it in there, everything looked super janky, and the players were.
I love early development bugs like that, especially because
Great
in my experience, animation bugs in games like that, suddenly characters start twisting around or upside down. You're what the fuck was that?
I mean, the guys.
I love that.
The lower body. So one of our goals was typically when you go into a defensive action, your players go into a glide, and then they can only do these defensive moves. And we only have upper and lower body separation when you're in this glide state, which is a limiting factor with the defensive skill stick. Yeah. So early on, we had the lower body moving, and then our prototype had the upper body moving independently. And we're like, functionally, this is going to work. How are we going to make this thing look good? Because this looks like we're two completely separate parts of the body.
Like a mech warrior. Just
absolutely.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm pitching. Yeah, like a total just a static chassis essentially.
When they do those magic tricks and they cut the person in half and you see their legs here and the body over there. It was literally like that. And so the team worked really, really hard, just kind of bring that all together, but getting the functionality right, and then make sure it look good too. So
something like that. Does that mean you have to do individual upper torso and lower body motion captures then for both?
Depending if we need if there's specific gaps that we need to fill in the motion itself, we'll do that. But for the most part, we just captured the holistic character doing stuff and skating backwards, skating forwards, pivoting and stuff like that, and getting the full range of motion as well. And then our animators would take the time just to clean it up and put the right boundaries in there so it looked natural.
The transitions and
exactly.
Speaking of motion capture, you guys have probably one of the best world-class facilities on the planet for motion capture. People come up to you guys for everything, film and everything out there on the campus. Who did you guys grace? Who graced your presence this year with motion capture?
Who did we get this year? We got a bunch of local guys, actually. A bunch of local guys. We had Pavel Barber, who's well known for some of his YouTube stuff and his just his crazy moves and his crazy skills with the stick and deking and stuff like that.
Wow.
So he came and helped us out with a lot of the deke moves that we have in the game this year. It's just a lot of local talent. Usually when we do motion capture, it's October, November, December, so during the hockey season. So it's tough to get pros out. So we usually get ex-pros out or ex-college guys and stuff like that. So that's what we had this year.
That's cool. I like that. What are you pulling up here, C-Mart?
No, nothing. Just let me.
Hey,
don't
do the
attention.
podcast. He says.
Yeah, Jesus.
He's like, why are you looking behind the curtain? Don't look behind the curtain. Sorry about that. You know what? Actually, why don't we put on some of those deke?
I was gonna look. Is that a Pebble Barber? Is he searchable?
Is that what you said?
Pebble. Pavel.
Pavel. I called him Pebble.
Pebble.
Because I'm good.
Shout out to Pavel Barber. Here we go. He's doing pretty well
Agility
for himself,
Blades.
eh?
My buddy of mine actually is involved in Agility Blades.
What's his most recent video? Put that up. It's probably NHL 18 related, I would imagine. Hammer time, bro.
This like...
What's going on here? This is good for the audio listeners, but yeah, we'll just pull up this video really quick.
You're just on camera, man. Don't worry.
I know. Just floundering out here. Look at me. Yeah.
I got to see if they're good first. That's why you don't want to call attention to me before I'm ready.
This is the part of the video when I'm editing these, and I edit the video, and I'm like, Jesus, you need to go to the gym.
You're just pondering.
Yeah, I fat shame myself until the final render goes out, and then I'm like, okay, now eat that chocolate. Here we go.
Yeah, so pretty
Pavel
silky.
Barber. Look at this guy.
Pretty silky.
Is this our watchers or viewers can see this?
Yeah.
Look at who Victor Kratz. Is that what that said?
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Sorry, I missed that last name bar, but that's okay.
Yeah, some crazy videos.
Wow.
2 pucks, a juggle.
So this guy's local, and he just
yeah, with incredible skill.
So on like some okay. So on
that must be some tough cleanup with the motion capture to make sure as they lose the the ball, like the sensors behind the legs as they're moving them around like that. It must be kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean with the capture system that we use in our capture lab there, they don't really lose too much stuff.
No,
I mean, the amount of cameras they have going at a single time.
I guess that's kind of like the whole point. Yeah, fair enough.
Wow, this guy's doing some really intense moves.
I like it's like the multi puck thing is strange.
Wow. So he took, what is it, Pavel Barber?
Yeah.
If you guys want to YouTube this, it's definitely worth checking out.
Yeah,
Pavel Barber.
I mean, there's crazy videos.
Dude, he's doing like skate demo stuff. Like this is like, look at this. Holy shit.
Bring this guy to your intramural floor hockey games.
Yeah.
Do you know
he doesn't score, he just does a thing.
Do you know what rink they're filming this at?
That kind of like UBC, but
I think it's at
UBC.
UBC.
Oh, that makes sense.
They all came together there.
Yeah. On message, this guy. Look at it. That's nice. That's good.
Anyway,
that's crazy though. The skill it takes to do something like that, I really appreciate it. I can't do any of that stuff.
Yeah, it was perfect though. It was perfect for what we're trying to do the game this year, and with all the new moves and with the movement towards the youth and the McDavids and the Matthews and the Linus and those guys using these moves that you're seeing like in the video there, using those moves in games in real time to create better scoring opportunities or create passing lanes for themselves.
Yeah.
Like I told people, like if we would have put those moves, some of the moves that we added for 18 into our game even a couple years ago, people would have said, "Oh, it's too arcadey. That stuff never happens in a game. It only happens when someone's trying to hot dog." And now you're seeing that almost on a nightly basis as part of the highlights.
Yeah. And speaking of those players you said there, yeah, like McDavid and Matthews, the seasons they had last year were God mode. It was like such a joy to watch young talent in their prime just completely murdering the opposition. Like, like it's.
What do you think that is in terms of like? Is it just because they've always been young kids coming to the NHL, always like top of their class, guys, like, but now this like there's the skills. Has the game just allowed that style to flourish, or is it just that particular style in a on an uptick?
Well, they got rid of the a lot of the clutching and grabbing, which allowed for faster play, getting rid of the two-line passes. Again, allowed for more speed. In the game, some of the old school guys would say the game's probably a little bit too fast right now.
A little flashier.
But these kids have just incredible skill, right? So for us, remember seeing Pavel Bure, doing these moves at full speed. He's one of the few guys that could pull off these incredible moves at full speed.
All the Pavels.
And now all these guys, all these kids, the McDavids, the Matthews, these guys are doing all these moves at full speed like Bure was back in the day.
Yeah, which is really crazy.
Yeah.
You know what? I was reading this quote about the entertainment industry, and it said sometimes making it means just still being around. That's like a major component. And the reason I say that is because you see these ultra talents like McDavid and Matthews, and I think they're a real. It's a major component. It has to be part of it because there's amazing draft years all the time.
Yeah.
But these franchise level players, when they come out and they really break through the way we've seen the last couple seasons, especially. You see that it's also the old guard retiring, and so it creates these vacuums of power essentially.
Yeah.
So you have these, like, if I could relate it to like basketball or something like that, the Karl Malones out there versus the Michael Jordan.
Sure,
it's like Michael Jordan is like this phenomenal, legendary the best of his sport.
Yeah.
And then you have these amazing elite talents that are playing against him that will they'll always, their trees won't grow under those shadows of those branches, essentially.
Yeah.
It'll always just be not as big.
Yep.
But if you look at MMA even right now, I'd say probably Daniel Cormier and John Jones. That essentially thing where you have this elite fighter in Daniel Cormier. But despite John Jones' issues, he'll always be the guy that he got beat twice by John Jones, you know. So how do you equate that? I say if you stick around long enough, you work your way through. You either excel in experience or your talent eventually breaks through.
That's right.
Whatever was holding you back, essentially.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. I don't know.
But I mean, especially now with so much through hockey, like so much talent coming up that. When you get 26, 27, 28, you're battling to keep your job, not lose it to this young guy who's coming in. You're coming in on a cheaper contract than you probably have at the time, too, if you're still around.
That's right.
So, yeah, it's interesting, just kind of the natural phenomenon of this, that vacuum out.
Speaking of contracts, the idea that, like, Yager is out there, that, like, guys like Iggy, like Jerome McGinley are out there.
Yeah.
That blows me away.
Yep.
That blows me away. I think there's got to be... You can't tell me a team like Vegas couldn't sell.
I love that they have a team.
Right? Which is great. But you couldn't tell me like a brand new expansion like Vegas couldn't take a player like Yager and churn that into like just some insane level of jersey sales. Or in the very least, just foster the growth of the younger players in the team. Like why wouldn't Montreal why wouldn't they sign Yager and have him lead Galchenyuk and Drouin and these younger guys? Why not show them how to be a superstar? Or Toronto, with, or those guys. Like, I could say a number of teams that could benefit from some type of leadership like that.
I just think teams value speed too much. And
that's what we're talking about, right?
That's it.
It's an overcorrection.
Yeah.
It's a complete overcorrection from basically 2013 moving forward. Now you're going to have teams. Someone's going to come in and bully their way to a cup again.
Sure.
And then you'll see it build back up.
Yeah.
Which I wanted to pitch this to you for an enforcer mode.
Yeah.
Enforcer mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people like to say...
Is that a thing?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not yet.
Oh, yeah.
Not yet. Well, let me pitch it
All
first.
right,
Yeah.
sure.
I got an idea, I gotta
All right.
I gotta paint a picture for you here. All right.
Unsolicited, mind you, she's not allowed to listen to it. But
so this is a patent pending. The film success of the Goon franchise was so great, and it paints a really great story of how your self-identity can be attached to this like occupation so well and so defined in your life that when that is removed from you, oftentimes not by your choice, what is your next step? A lot of people have a hard time, transitioning into that next phase of life.
Yep.
Athletes and non-athletes alike. I would like to see. It doesn't even need to be the post and pre-life or anything like that. Like it doesn't have to be Goon. I'm not pitching Goon the game, by the way. What I'm pitching for a mode is within the Be a Pro, if an enforcer. Rather than being relegated to fighting and hitting and
money laundering and
gambling.
Yeah.
There's a gambling mini side mode. Rather than being relegated to those portions of the role, having an intimidation mini game essentially, where you're able to chirp.
Yeah.
Almost, you could say. Seriously, and you could even like do a control scheme in this the idea of like some of those rock band Guitar Hero type,
a little combo
to
chirp,
right to chirp, and the more chirps you learn, think about like Monkey Island or something like that. The way you learn the insult games and the
what's the counterplay though? How are you gonna fight back? You just have a chirp defense?
A more complex button combination.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing, because it's Be a Pro and you work your way through it. Here's my counterplay. You first start off. If you don't chirp well enough, you get intimidated and you have to fight. And if you're unable to fight in the game, then your roles in your ice time is diminished, and that affects how your long-term viability on the team, right? But you will always have to learn, and that's the learning rate, because you're the rookie enforcer.
Yeah.
Ty Domi when he first fought Bob Probert back in the day. You know, that was a big step for Ty Domi. But to have that rookie legend kind of dynamic, and you work your way up until the end of your career where you know all the taunts, you know all the intimidations, and you're able to you're so good at this point, and you're chipping in points, you're very effective forward, and at this point suddenly you start being called out by the younger guys, and you have to sort them out, and then eventually you retire and that kind of thing. That's my pitch.
Okay, yeah. So
I'm looking forward to seeing this in NHL 19, Rammer.
Yeah, so you master the button combos, you chirp, then you back it up by fighting. You do that long enough, and then you go to the corner, and people don't want to go to the corner with you because you can fight really well.
That's right.
You get the puck, and you start scoring offensively. You chip in.
Yes.
You start to come down on the backside of your career. You get young guys coming up and challenge you with more complex button combination chirps.
Yes.
And you don't have the skills to counter because you're limited and you're old and you can't remember all the button combos anymore.
Yes.
And you still take the fight because you fight for pride and to keep your place in the league. And then eventually you lose some fights and then you're out of the league.
I'm very impressed that you didn't write any of this down and you
I'm with you. Okay.
Yeah, okay. I'm impressed.
He's a pro, by the way.
Yeah, he's a super pro, clearly. Yeah. Okay. No, I'll look forward to seeing this.
I feel like we have a design there. I feel like it's designed.
Seems loose. Seems loose. But
a few details to go in.
Don't worry. I'll give you the napkin I wrote it down on.
For example, how the game somehow allows the button combos.
Yeah.
Like at any, the game plays pretty fast. If I remember, like I've seen it, like.
Yeah.
You don't have a lot of time to fuck around with some like pop-ups.
You would have to change the dynamics for more scrum. More scrums.
More scrum time for sure.
Yeah. More scrums. And
like you probably face wash, and that means give me some time to enter my button combo while you're face washing the guy.
That's another thing too. You can upgrade your face wash to give you more time.
Right.
And then little dirty things behind the play. Like if the linesman's not looking. Little thing. That's what I'm telling you.
So just actual question here. Given, let's say this was actually a proposal from the team.
Yes.
And you don't have to say it because obviously can't really comment, but like, what do you think the NHL response would be with this kind of promotional gameplay, considering they sign off on the game? Do you think they would be psyched, or do you think they would have questions?
Yeah, it's good. It's a good question. I think, I think with the way the league is going around, like the speed and the skill and the creativity, you're seeing a lot of the fighting, a lot of sort of the aggression, a lot of the after whistle stuff, kind of getting phased out of the game itself. But to be honest, like when we try to be sort of authentic, that's probably the opposite of where the authenticity of the sport is actually going. So
that's true. Yeah, I will say that. And you've actually said this on the show before, but all the informal player polls every time when they poll all the players and they say, hey, do you want fighting removed? It's overwhelming. It's like 98% or something every time in favor of fighting. Yeah.
Oh, in favor of yes, want fighting.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it polices the game. They like. You have your star players out there like, I don't want to get ran for every time I'm in the corner or something like that. Especially at this level, like. The amount of money on the table, the amount of investment you put personally into your own life and career and the sacrifices and stuff just to be shut down quickly. And we've seen that several times over the years. It's pretty bad. It can be bad, but in a video game sense, it could be very entertaining.
Sure. Yeah.
And I'd like to see it. Actually, that's another question. Has there ever been discussion about career-ending injuries in be a pro or franchise mode?
Be a pro would be tough because
like permadeath.
You go out in your first game and you get one of these injuries and then you're done.
the first game maybe, but like your 50th game, like you put in like 4 hours.
Yeah,
you
have 4 hours of play.
Let me counterpoint to that. I have played several. I don't know how many hours. I am a hardcore player. I play a lot, but the amount of times I've been playing, say like my second playthrough at that year's copy or something, and I'll get injured.
Yeah.
And like a 2 or 3 month injury or something in the game. There's a few times where I've been like, if this was permanent, that's okay. And
really?
Because realistically, some of them can be permanent. Or
no doubt, for sure.
Or how about this? Not even career ending, but just permanent damage. Like accruing, like, okay, now your speed's diminished this much
Right.
because you blew your knee for the second time.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, I can see something like that.
Yeah. Have you like has that stuff ever been tabled and discussed?
I think we talked about sort of how deep we want to go with injuries and duration of injuries and stuff like that. We had playable injuries where you could get hurt and then come back to the game and your ratings would be decreased based on the type of injury you had, stuff like that, right?
Definitely, yeah. Just
so
on a more
if you were playing,
basis, yeah.
if you were playing franchise mode as the Habs, and
great team.
Wow, TBD.
TBD. And Edmonton's your next game, and you saw McDavid was out for the year. I think part of the enjoyment of playing the variety of different teams is when the star players come to town. Just like when you go watch a game, you go see McDavid. And so having McDavid not there for the rest of that season, I personally feel as a gamer is not exciting to me. I'd rather be playing against McDavid.
I can recognize that. I think
an option might be like not the default. I'm not sure how many options there are moving into it, but like almost like a difficulty slider, you know, in terms of like, hey, I'm open to this. Yeah, but like on average, players, you know, like only 5% of players that play the mode might even be interested. Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah, like GM Connected went the previous iteration of that, right?
Yeah.
The engagement was just didn't warrant future, and it's still on the table maybe in the future.
Yeah, right? So we continue to look at it. We also continue to dissect kind of why it didn't work as well as we wanted to the first time there. So we can figure out how to optimize it, just make it better, right?
You guys must get good on analytics too, right?
Yeah, you were saying
absolutely.
I think you said after like the first month or two of a GM Connected season, the engagement drops to like like tiny,
extremely tiny. And then the number of leagues that had more than 2 people as part of the league was again very, very small. And we had built it, hoping that people would form 30-man leagues at the time. And played OTP style, and we'd have all these people playing it, and the numbers just weren't there.
And I mean, I can see why. Life is a constant struggle for attention and time and investment.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, it's not unheard of.
Yeah, and we didn't, and to be fair on our side, the experience also wasn't the greatest either, and there were long like load times for each screen because we had everything on the server. And stuff like that. So there's things on our side too there were things on our side that we didn't do as well as we should have either. But I don't think if we'd optimized all that stuff, I'm not sure that the numbers would have still been there. So we continue to look at it.
This is why I like you, man, because you're so open and you're so honest about this stuff. Like you're vulnerable. How can anyone say a mean thing about you? I don't know. You're a good guy. You've always you know what? You've never sat in front of me in an interview, and you've never ever like hid behind like a PR answer.
No, I mean the answer is the answers, right?
Yeah.
And I think in this day and age, hopefully fans just appreciate transparency and at least you may not agree with the decisions that we make. You might not agree that GM Connected hasn't come back, but hopefully you have enough context for me to understand the decision.
Of course,
right? That's all we can do. And it starts with when we come up with game designs and stuff like that. Not everyone always understands what we're doing or agrees with what you're doing internally or externally, but they can understand why you're doing what your objectives are in doing it or your decision making process, and then be okay with it. At some point, you just got to trust the person making the decisions, right?
Okay, I got a hard ball for you.
Fire.
When I was making my franchise last year, my first franchise, it asked me to enter my GM name.
Yeah.
I always pay tribute to my late maternal grandfather, Jack Backman, and I would make him the GM because he's the one who gave me my love for the Habs. And Jack Backman wouldn't fit in the character limit. I felt like texting you, and then I was like, nah, you got bigger things going on. So I was like, no, you know what I'll do?
That seems like a low character limit, actually.
Yeah. You know what? I'll let it fester for a year, and then I'll confront him directly.
How do you spell Backman? Is it like extra characters?
It's Backmann.
That seems low.
Yeah, that's a little low.
What is that like?
So I can fit my name in there. I'm pretty sure my name fits in there.
I can get.
But is it meant for 2 names, or is it meant for like a single last name?
Single last name.
So it was supposed to just be Backman.
Probably just supposed to be.
You
Backman,
tried to go
right?
first and last.
Okay.
Use your error.
Yeah, the payoff on that question was perfect. Yeah, it's like I waited a year for that, guys. Yeah, no, it's just like that questions like that though, where like they're easily like, oh well, hey, this is why, like the menu, sub menu.
Yeah.
it blows me away how many people just like, well, I'm never playing this again. They just drop. I don't know. Do you feel like there's this is beyond video games, but do you feel like there's an entitlement in social media?
Oh, that's the world we live in. That's what makes it so fascinating, though. So fast, and we've gone deep on social media before.
A little bit.
That's what makes it so fascinating. And there's so many people on Twitter, on social media, that want to stand out, get recognized. And I mean, look at the tweets you're referencing right now. Those people who do that stuff, right? Those are the people we talk about.
They can catch you in some comment or whatever, right? And they can there's notoriety to be gained for them.
I think or whatever. I hate, you know what? More than anything, more than the lack of credibility and stuff like that, like which I called out earlier. More than that, I think the thing I hate the most is the smug last word culture. Holy man, I went off a little bit on that a couple weeks ago, but I know you both know what I'm talking about. It's the someone posts something, hot take on something like that.
Out the edge.
First comment, and first comment is always like, actually, da 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 da, and then someone, maybe a third party, engages with that first comment, and then the original poster comes in because it's their thread, and they come in and they say, well, actually, you should know this, da 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 da, and it's like a drop the mic thing where they just feel like, oh, this is it, boom, I'm walking away. It's like not everyone is a drop the mic kind of person. Like that probably bugs me more than anything when you see like really poorly constructed arguments championed as like the greatest intelligence. That fucking drives me crazy. Yeah. I'm venting a little bit here.
That's okay. That's okay. It's fascinating. I love it.
That's what reading your tweets does to me. Pence me up a little bit. You know what? What time we got? Where we at, bro?
40.
40? I think it's about time for a little read. Can we do a little ad read, I think?
Oh, yeah.
I forgot to mention to remind me. So it's just.
By the way.
Yeah. Hey, thanks.
You're welcome.
Cool. Let's do this. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're near a computer or a phone right now, I would go ahead and recommend that you go to floathouse.ca. Why would you go there? Well, it's simply the greatest isolation tank experience in the Lower Mainland. Rammer, have you floated before?
I have not floated. I want to float.
How close are you to booking?
Will I fit in the tank is my first question.
Absolutely.
And if I'll fit in the tank, I want to float. I was literally this close to booking.
How tall are you exactly? You're
6'11".
6'11". Jesus Christ.
That's a bunch of. That's a bunch of.
How big's the tank?
The tanks have fit WWE superstar Paul White, The Big Show.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know if that's his real first name, Paul White. But
what is he like? He's like 6'5", though. 6'6". I saw him in the airport one time.
Hold on. He's like 7'4" or something like that.
Come on now.
Oh, is that his Vince? That's his Vince height?
Yeah, that's his Vince height. I walked past him in the airport.
That's like Undertaker's 300 pounds.
Yeah.
Is he? I don't think so. Yeah. Let's look this up. Big Show. The Big Show. Paul Donald White is currently how?
I think he's 6'5" or 6'6".
Build height is 7 foot.
7 feet.
But it says build as if it might not be accurate.
What the hell? Build height. He's not a transformer. Let's get
No, that's what it says.
Okay,
it says
7 feet. I bet you if you go to the WWE one, though, he's
like 7'4".
7'6" now.
Yeah.
He grows.
He's getting bigger out there.
I think he's 6'5", 6'6". That's why I give him 6'5", 6'6".
You think he's 6'6"?
I think so.
Isn't his whole gimmick he's 7 feet? This would be
That's why it's its build height.
Okay,
you gotta Google
Google it.
Google is real height.
Yeah, this would be a kayfabe killer right now. If we were just like, he's actually 6'4". Yeah. Big Show actual height. Excellent Google name. Okay, here we go. What is it? Convert that.
213 is 7 feet.
Metric?
213 7 feet.
213 is 7 feet. How'd you do that on the fly? You're a smart fella.
6'11" is like 211.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, 6'11" is 211.
Yeah, so look, you guys are the same height, basically. Right?
I'm not believing that.
It says 6'10".
No way.
Look at this.
There's no way. There is no way that he's 7 feet.
Are you calling out Big Show right now? This is the official call out.
Unless the lady in the picture is
She could be tall.
Kelly. I don't think Kelly. Okay, how tall is Kelly?
There we go. Let's do some
look up Kelly.
Investigatory work here.
What are you looking at, bro?
Oh, I'm just trying to read the caption as if it had any more information.
Oh no, look up Kelly.
Oh, what did it say? 6'10" up there.
Yeah, that's what I say. 6'10".
See,
someone claimed
getting smaller by the search.
That's because Actually, did you ever hear Hulk Hogan? His reasoning? He was like, I used to be 6'6", brother. And then all those leg drops.
5'6".
Now I'm 6'3".
Build height of
really?
5'6".
which is bullshit, by the way. Maybe he had a Vince height of 6'6".
Yeah.
So that's 5'6" here.
5'6". So
She's 5'6".
So we're saying that he's a foot and a half taller.
Let's look at this photo. Can we get a viewer for the viewer photo?
Is that a?
Are they looking at this right now?
Mm-hmm.
Show them this. So look at this.
No, she got heels on too. Let's give her some.
So like,
Yeah, you know what?
How tall is she? 5'6"?
5'6" is what it says.
5'6"
That's my
with
height.
heels. Let's say those are 4 inches, I guess.
No, it's 5'6" build height. They only do build.
It's like a great player.
This I know, like oh, you used the Kelly template. Okay, smart. It's a smart move. Interesting.
Tall as
Hulk Hogan,
You
by the
saw
way.
him though in the airport. And he
I
was
saw in the airport. Yeah. I would have guessed he was probably 6'6".
Mid float house ad.
Oh. Should just start again.
Yeah,
That's
no.
But ladies and gentlemen, if you go to float,
They will fit you in the tank.
yeah. By the way, they will fit you.
You can
yeah.
fit 2 meters 13.
Yeah, at least.
He fit very
At most.
comfortably, from what I understand.
Really?
That's
They're
not-
pretty big.
Yeah.
If you
Naturally,
look at
though,
them.
he's only 6'6". Of course he fit.
Okay.
I forgot we were doing the ad for a second.
I'm aware.
I'm so glad you got us back on track.
That's
Jesus.
the internet. That's the internet for you. Just
Yeah.
down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, I was like, now
Let's dig our way back.
Yeah.
Yeah, look up this guy.
Yeah, now look up fascism. Okay, let's just, yeah. So if you go to floathouse.ca, you can actually experience the greatest isolation tank experience in the Lower Mainland. It's so cool. What's an isolation tank? Basically, it's a float tank that you can just unlock the mysteries of your mind. It's so beautiful and tranquil at the same time. It's really relaxing. You can actually just chill in there and enjoy the silence. You don't have to go on these intergalactic journeys. You can just enjoy the time.
Are there sounds in there?
There's whatever sound you bring with you.
Oh, okay.
It's just like, you know, that scene in Star Wars when Luke he's like, what's in that forest in the swamps of Dagobah?
Yeah.
And then Yoda's like,
Only what you bring with you.
and then
Your weapons. You will not need them.
that thing. And then he ends up slicing Vader's head and it ends up being his face, foreshadowing. Crazy. So, spoiler, by the way, in case you haven't seen Empire Strikes Back.
I'm going to float, though. Before we do this again, I'm going to float.
I would hope so, because
We'll talk
it's
about
super fun.
the float experience next time.
If
I'm
you
looking forward to
do,
it.
you should use our podcast promo code IIPodcast. That'll get you 20% off your next float.
I will do that.
Yeah, yeah. And that was not a clever way to package that into the conversation naturally.
But it definitely worked.
It definitely did work, though. But yeah, go to Jesus, what am I doing? Go to floathouse.ca and use our podcast promo code IIPodcast to get yourself 20% off your next float, ladies and gentlemen. It's great. I love it. I float. We float. You should float. Rammer's going to float next time.
We're all going to float.
We're all going to float.
Not in a group. It's not big enough for that.
I was just thinking
I think there are
But it
group
could fit
tanks,
it could
though.
fit the big show.
It could fit Paul White.
Fit 2 of me then.
How tall are you?
5'6". Kelly height.
You're Kelly. Oh, you got the Kelly template.
Yeah,
the
man.
build, Kelly. The build, yeah. That was a weird way to put that. The build height. You got a 5'6".
It's because I think when they put most people on Wikipedia, they don't list their stats like they do for models or they do for people that have like their physical nature is like part of their persona or character.
Oh, if they're like an athlete.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Then it's like, oh, this is what they're known for. And so for wrestling, I think it's like the height and the weight is like a thing. Anyway.
Jesus. Yeah, I think we've made enough enemies in entertainment so far. I think we can get away from. Big Show's a big guy.
He's a big guy.
He's a big fella. I don't know.
Yeah, you tell him he's 6'6".
Yeah. I would like to send a message, and I'll send him that clip, and I'll be like, just so you know, Rammer over at EA Sports sending a lot of heat your way. What do you think about this? You would probably respond in some kind of baritone font. I don't like it.
I'm going to get to the bottom of this, by the way. Expect a text from me tonight. I'm going to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, we'll figure this out.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Speaking of stuff we have online, C-Mart, what do you got for me on
Only the things you
here?
sent. So
things I send you.
yeah, so
Did you see this, Rammer, today? Check this out, man. Look at this
thing?
news here. Have you seen this? Let me read the headline here for our viewers. Balls of bitumen, Calgary breakthrough could bypass pipeline problem, researcher says. So someone has figured out in Calgary how to basically take oil from a liquid form and keep it into these non-spillable pellets. So the article says think the way aspirin works, essentially. So it covers it in this thin coating that you'd have to like really heat up in order to re-liquefy it, but it's the same amount of energy it takes to liquefy it initially. So look at this video here. Look at this. So these bitumen balls could be a pipeline-free way to get the oil out around the world. Because right now, all these pipelines, the big issues are like spills are inevitable, right?
Yeah.
But if this spills, we're talking like
so we're saying we're saying
weak cleanup versus like
this is like a new distribution method for oil.
This could actually revolutionize. Look at this. Look how they stay in form. If you could think about this. Imagine being able to you'd buy oil in like in Fun Dip packs, essentially. Like if you needed oil, you go, you're like, I need a viscosity rating.
How do they actually turn it into the liquid?
Let me read a bit more. What does it say? The pellets are tough and can be safely transported by rail or truck without worrying about spills. Because of a gas bubble injected inside each pellet, they are also buoyant.
This makes me a little nervous. Long time.
The guy who is talking about it says, they're nice and hardy. If you put them in water, they'll sit like that for a very long time. Well, that's kind of good, isn't it?
Yeah, but how long is very long? Like 4 days or...
That's true. It doesn't really specify. But I don't know. It says the research and effort to translate into a commercially viable idea was supported by the University of Calgary's Innovate Calgary, the school's technology and business incubation center. Well, that's smart, man. This is the kind of thinking you need to advance. Now, the interesting part here is...
So if you put them... so it says by remixing them with a light oil, which is produced as a side product somehow.
Of the original... It's actually already produced as a side product of the original process. And then upgraded in the regular way. So you'd have to transport the light oil with the solids if you want to reconstitute the heavy oil.
Right, yeah.
That's interesting.
It's novel.
So,
it's certainly novel.
So here's a weird ethical question. Is like that's obviously a great invention.
Yeah.
But ethically...
Oil pachinko.
Yes, it's definitely game showy a little bit. Yeah, like you throw oil balls around, I guess, whatever. But... how about the idea that we're supposed to be moving away from oil, rightfully so, and I can imagine why. We're supposed to be moving away from like an oil-based economy into like more green nature. Yeah. Will this actually just, delay that inevitable transition?
I don't think so. I think people are trying to be progressive enough in that transition that I think this just makes a safer way of delivering oil. In the meantime, while we figure it out, I think there's enough momentum towards kind of going green, in my opinion.
I agree with that. Now, to kind of tie into our earlier conversation, the internet's response to this article is not as positive as you would imagine.
What's the response?
The responses I was reading were pretty much what I was just in the question I was just saying, which is like, this is only going to prolong the inevitable, and we need to get off oil now. And it's just like there's no
pretty
positive.
Rational, right?
It's but at the same time we need
not
oil.
In that
like
voice that you just used. But
how dare you aggressively attack me like that? Yeah, how dare you? This is a safe space, and I should be able to talk however I want. How dare you? No, the idea though that like the monitor that everyone's watching the show on or listening to it or whatever, everything's oil based basically. Everything you're using, especially electronics, it has oil in the technology. You still need it, even if we moved off it for transportation. We'll still need it for many, many, many products. So I think it's a great idea. I think it's supposed to be probably one of the best innovations I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty rad.
Yeah.
Imagine if they figured out how to do that with like different food types, foodstuffs, and water.
Like some Willy Wonka shit.
Some Willy Wonka shit that it's like an everlasting gobstopper, essentially. Yeah. We've developed a coating that will provide you infinite gum. And you're like, wow, this is... What a time to be alive. It's amazing. I made a comment the other day online that it's never been easier to start a cult right now because you have the blood moon now in Vancouver. You have historical floods and hurricanes. Yeah. And
you don't think like
the Antichrist is currently sitting in the United States.
You don't think that like 10 AD you're like you could basically, if you just saw some shit, you're just like, and some guy died, you're like, let's elevate that person to cult status.
Basically, right?
It's like you just, as long as you're in power, you can just like create cults.
I think at 10 AD, there might have been actually...
Or earlier.
It might have been more conservative. They might have been like, there hasn't been enough people yet. We have to see how this goes. No Saints until 280. That's they're like, we're gonna see how this goes for the first 200 years, and then work off that. I think that was the playbook. Fair enough. C-Mart, that worked out really well.
Are you thinking of starting a cult? I guess is my question.
Yeah, this is what I'm working into.
And if you did, what would you? What would be your point of? What would be the thing?
I would finance a lot of the cult with terrible video game pitches. I would.
That's kind of how you're financing it.
Yeah, I would start a new model where I charge for pitches. People are always like, oh, I'm trying to get the meeting. I'm like, no. You bring the meeting to you. You pitch. They pay you. It's totally new. It's got to revolutionize. It's going to be the oil bitumen transport of pitches.
Such a game changer. We can't wrap our head around it right now.
It's
so futuristic.
Yeah, it's going to be the defense skill stick of pitches. It's going to be it's going to be amazing. There's a large team that goes into helping bring games about every year, and I feel like your name's obviously always at the forefront of a lot of the credit that gets thrown that way.
Yeah.
Are there individuals this year on the team that you think of when you think, hey, this individual stepped up and was like a very central part?
Yeah, I think the way we operate, I mean, it's such a team effort. There's so many people that go into, so many people that are instrumental in just bringing it all together, and everyone literally plays a role. Bigger roles, smaller roles with more accountability, less accountability. We have doers, we have guys who push innovation. Like, everyone's just got their role on our team, and you mentioned me being at the forefront of it all, and not super comfortable with that, given like the culture that we like to have on the team around just.
I just mean like most people, name recognition. That's what it is.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah. And I get it. I get it that I do a lot of the external sort of communications and stuff like that, the media, so my name's out there. But it's I tell the team all the time, it's just an honor to kind of represent the work that they do. And I'm not a big believer in like hierarchical org charts and stuff like that. When you look at our org chart and our team, that we're not rolling up the chain. We're just, myself and our core leadership group are kind of just right there on the side, on the left side or the right side with everyone else, and we just have a different role on the team, literally just a different role on the team.
I think that makes a good leader, being able to spread it out like that. Obviously,
I mean, we're only as good as the the work that the team does, and hopefully they value the direction that we bring and the leadership that we bring. But I didn't write a single line of code for NHL 18. I didn't make a single piece of art for NHL 18. Hopefully, the team can appreciate the people that we brought in to fill some key gaps that we had, and hope that they know we're always trying to make the team as good as we can, and believe in us as leaders. So, team effort, man.
That's pretty
team
exciting.
Effort.
I like that.
The QA this time, you get some good. Yeah. You get some weird bugs. Like obviously, there's always some weird ones, but were there like some spectacular ones that like persisted or kept cropping up, or just like, oh, this fucking
Can you
thing
speak to that?
Well, anytime you deal with physics,
anytime
you
generators.
Anytime you do with physics, right? Because you can't write a test plan that accounts for every single thing that can happen when you have runtime physics going. So there's some always some fantastic physics bugs. Just some of the stuff we saw the defensive skill stick too, and just how janky it kind of looked. Just seeing that stuff in early development, and like, man, we had a long way to go to put it together.
Come in not hot, but where you're just like, are we gonna be able to clean it up, or is it?
Oh, totally, absolutely, yeah. I think defense skill stick was one of those things, and functionally it was working, but we couldn't ship it the way it was for the majority of the year. But again, though, the team just kind of rallied, and they totally. I mean, the team are the biggest critics of their work.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it makes our job easy, right?
I do have a question that I think probably would have came up if I asked for questions.
Yeah.
Obviously, Frostbite.
Yep.
Using switching engines.
Yep.
Has that been considered for next year? Were we too early in the game to discuss that? Can you discuss that?
No. So we're looking at Frostbite. So with Madden FIFA on Frostbite right now, Madden going to Frostbite. going to a new piece of technology like that is always challenging. It's like a changing consoles.
Yeah.
Risky.
Risky,
You guys are
difficult.
just getting, so comfortable right now with the current.
Yeah.
Like
And nobody cares that you've gone to a new engine if the game isn't better. Right?
Yeah.
As a consumer, and you shouldn't care about that. You just care about what does this new engine get me and give me more of that good stuff that it should bring.
Totally.
And so for us, there was it was tough, a tough transition for FIFA, tough for Madden, just like any kind of console transition is. And so for us, trying to take those learnings, I think that's the good thing about being part of sports and the larger kind of EA is there's so much knowledge there and there's so much we can do just kind of learn and figure out when the right time for us to fast follow is, so we don't repeat some of the mistakes or the learnings that others encountered before us. So we're still trying to figure out what the right time is for us, and for us it's the number one thing that we're trying to do is like how do we deliver the best game every single year, get the most stuff in it to meet the demands of our fans. And then when we start thinking about Frostbite is when can we get that in there in an efficient way and blow people away with what it actually brings.
Yeah.
So it's always, when you look at it from a fan first perspective, focusing on Frostbite means that we're not doing some other stuff, right? And we understand the expectations are get on Frostbite and give us more the stuff you normally give us and some other cool stuff as well, because now you're on Frostbite too.
Yeah.
So really flex the power of that engine.
It's definitely like budgeting expectations in that regard.
Sure. Yeah.
Do you think that there's an advantage to, say, some of the other teams for like FIFA and Madden moving to Frostbite first and seeing how they're able to implement?
Oh, totally.
Yeah, like being not first in through the
absolutely.
door.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for NHL, the sort of fast follow approach has been a good one for us in a lot of different ways. Just when we moved to this generation of console, Madden and FIFA kind of went first. We took all the learnings and then we followed the year after. Frostbite, same kind of thing. It's just with the amount of sharing that we do now in the company, sharing best practices, sharing technology, sharing learning, sharing people, it's a sound strategy for us. It allows us to leverage our size to the best of our ability, as opposed to everyone trying to do this exact same thing at the same time and everybody's sort of falling flat or succeeding.
Yeah. Well said, my friend.
Right?
That's really great. I appreciate you coming down and chatting with us.
Absolutely.
Today.
Anytime.
You're always welcome here, man. Always,
Perfect.
always, all the time.
Next time I come for a float.
I would love if you come and just hang and have a float. You know what would be great? I think this year I'd love to have you come do some playoff predictions again.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do that for
Sparling?
sure this
Sparling?
year. With Sparling, would you be interested
Let's
in
do
seeing
it.
that? Every time your name comes up, he's always just like, "Oh, bro, you got to get me in there again."
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
it, man. It's like it's ridiculous. Yeah. Can I plug the game one more time before we head out? I think that's what we should do. I think NHL 18, I believe, is available in North America on Friday, September 15th.
Yeah, worldwide, September 15th.
2017. NHL 18 will be available on Xbox One and PS4.
Yeah.
Worldwide, you said?
Worldwide.
Worldwide, and it's available right now in early access.
That's ambitious. Full release.
Woo! Full release,
Nice.
yeah. It's our first time actually going
Today?
worldwide on a Friday. Typically we go Tuesday, Friday. We're going worldwide on a Friday. But if you
Crazy.
pre-order the Young Stars edition, you get a bunch of extra stuff, and then you get to access the game on Tuesday, the 12th.
Nice.
So a little extra.
Should we
early
be
access.
celebrating right now? Because you have early access release today?
We should, yeah, absolutely.
Should add a little-
celebrate every day, shouldn't we?
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's a good point.
A little Prosecco, a little something like that. Yeah. A little
We're
Jack.
known for our Prosecco
Yeah, no.
on Intergalactic interviews.
Clear.
Nice
clear
Italian liqueurs.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if you could tell by the class of this caller, but yeah. It's usually Jack Daniels in here.
Yeah, exactly. From a paper cup.
That's right. Yeah. And it eats through paper, by the way.
Yeah.
Learned that the hard way. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, if you're interested in following Rammer, which I definitely recommend you do, I think I know your handles off the top of the head. Is it Rammer34?
You got it.
Boom.
You got it.
At Rammer34 on Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew it was one of them. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So both of them at Rammer34. Go ahead, and he's very open. Be kind. Rewind. Don't say in anger what could be corrected with kindness. Okay, that's
deep.
That's
That
my
is
message.
deep.
That's my message to the internet. And then they'll come back to me and be like, "Do you know what's really offensive is that you're trying to tell me how to live my life as a cisgendered white male." And I'm like, "Okay, look, I just want no hate."
Yes.
They're like, "Are you trying to say there's no room for. I'm like, okay, God, you can't say anything without anyone having something to say. But if you're so interested in maybe following views like this ever again, please come and subscribe to the podcast. We're available on iTunes and Stitcher and YouTube and SoundCloud for some reason. I don't know why we're still in there, but
You know exactly why?
there's a small contingent of like 20 people that probably still use SoundCloud for some reason. And
Also RSS.
yeah.
Or whatever, you
Yeah.
said something.
And our podcast, you just search Intergalactic Interviews. If you like it, leave us a review. That does big things for us. We appreciate it. C-Mart, how can people follow you if they're so interested?
It's not really a thing, so I wouldn't.
Excellent. We keep moving with that. And that being said, we are very grateful. Thanks very much for coming to the show, Rammer.
Thanks again for having me. It's awesome.
You're always
great
welcome
chatting
here,
with you
man.
guys.
And everyone, thank you very much for listening. We love you all. We'll see you all next week. Have a good day. Bye. Oh, yeah.
Sweet.
That's sweet.
Nice.
Sailor.
We went all over the place there.